And then all of a sudden I'd wake up and find myself punching the bloody bedhead.
I read all the side effects and I don't want to take that.
I take so many tablets I rattle.
I looked up Dr. Google and now I don't know what to believe.
Who comes up with the names for these medicines?
I hate taking medicines.
Hello, g'day everyone, and welcome to the Medicines Ed podcast. This podcast is for anyone who wants to know more about their medicines. It's for anyone who wants to feel more confident using them, because if you are more confident and clued up about your medicines, then you can make better choices about your health. You can make the choices that are right for you. I'm John, and I'm a pharmacist who loves to help people mind their own medicines.
Mind your 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 own medicines.
We all have a story to tell, and sometimes the same types of things will happen in our own lives. We'll learn from others how they take care of their health and the part medicines play in their lives. We'll learn more about the choices you can make. Now it's time for our disclaimer. This podcast is general health and medicines information only, and the content is not health advice. We're all unique, we're all special, so please consult your healthcare professional if you have any questions about your health. Now, let's jump into today's episode. G'day everyone. Today we're going to be talking about post-traumatic stress disorder, or PTSD. Now, PTSD is a type of mental health condition, and it's triggered by a really awful event, something that you went through yourself or that you saw happen to someone else. I come across a few people that have PTSD, and the people that I see that have it tend to have gotten it from their experiences in the Vietnam War. They're Vietnam War veterans, and what they went through during the war is what's triggered PTSD for them. But there's other things that can trigger it for people. Maybe it's an accident, something like a car accident can trigger it for people, or if they've been assaulted or attacked by someone, or if they've gone through a natural disaster like a fire or a flood. These are all sorts of things that can trigger PTSD for people. And for those who don't know too much about it, let me tell you a few things about what you might experience. These are some of the signs or the symptoms, some of the things you might go through if you've got PTSD. It's not the full list of things that could happen, because there's quite a few that you could get, and you may not get all of these things, you might just get some of them. We'll have a chat about them now, and you'll also hear John, who we talk to later on, describe some of these exact same things that he goes through. So you might go back over the event in your head. Whatever the event was that triggered PTSD for you, you might replay it in your head when you really don't want to. If this happens at night, it might give you nightmares, and you might find you get freaked out when you come across something that reminds you of whatever that event was. You might find yourself getting wound up or wired up all the time. You might have trouble sleeping, or a pretty short fuse. It doesn't take much to upset you or get you going, and you might startle easily if you hear a loud noise. You might jump. We'll hear that later with our chat with John, that very thing. You might find that you do all you can so that you don't do things that remind you of whatever the event was. You might avoid going to see certain people or going to certain places. You just don't want to be reminded of the event, which is understandable. And you might lose interest in doing day-to-day stuff, or you might stop doing stuff that you enjoy. It just doesn't excite you anymore. It doesn't get you going anymore. Now, for a mental health condition that might sound pretty out there, some of these symptoms aren't very pleasant. It's actually surprisingly common. The stats are that about 1 in 8 Australians might get PTSD in their life, so this is not an uncommon thing. And if you want to find out more, there's a couple of organisations you can get in touch with. One is Beyond Blue. They've got a really good website with information about PTSD on, and I've got to thank them. I've used some information off that website to help me today with getting this podcast up and going. The other organisation you might want to look into is Lifeline. If you ever think about suicide, you can give them a ring if you're in Australia on 13 11 14, any time of the day or night, any day of the week. If you are feeling suicidal, you're just not feeling good, in a good headspace, give them a ring. There's someone on the other end of the phone that can help you out. Yeah, they're a good group. Don't be afraid to give them a call. So we're now going to move on to our chat with John. So John's a Vietnam War veteran, and John was lucky. The medicines he takes work really well for him. We're going to focus on using medicines because I'm a pharmacist, and this is what this podcast is all about, getting people clued up on using medicines for various things. But remember, medicines, as with most things, aren't the whole answer. With PTSD, there's other stuff you can try, stuff like talk therapy, for example, and we'll touch on that later on. Now, with our chat with John, please excuse the sound at times. We're in John's home and we've got phones going off. You'll hear all of that going on. But hey, that's life. Not everyone's home is a perfect recording studio. And excuse the language at times. We'll jump straight into our chat with John and I'll see you on the other side. Hooroo. You were over in Vietnam?
Yes, I worked as a crewman on a tank.
Okay.
Yeah, I was the bloke that loaded the gun, big gun. I used to load the machine guns as well,
Okay.
but I was also responsible for loading the main armament, which was an 84mm round.
How many years were you over there for?
I was over there for 10 months. Then I had to come home because I was due for discharge. My national service time had expired
Okay.
while I was over there, so I came home. They sent me home.
And you said from your experiences in Vietnam, you ended up having issues with post-traumatic stress disorder?
Post-traumatic stress, but that was not diagnosed until something like 20 odd years after. No, more than that. It was diagnosed in about 1990.
Okay.
But in the meantime, I just had to keep putting up with this stress, taking medications to try and ease the issues.
When you say putting up with stress, what sort of things were going on?
Oh, well, just because of the mental disorder,
Yeah.
I was pretty well stressed out and I was running my own business. I started a civil construction business and I had up to, at one stage there, I had up to 35 people working for me. Well, it was a demanding situation, but I enjoyed doing it and I achieved a lot by doing it and it set me up financially.
Some people that have post-traumatic stress disorder might have issues like with the short fuse. It doesn't take much to set them off.
Yes.
They don't have a whole lot of patience.
Yep, I'm like that.
Is that still an issue for you?
Not so much now because I'm taking the medication, but it used to be. In the meantime, I was dealing with this PTSD unknowingly because I had a short temper. If people didn't do the right thing, I used to abuse the shit out of them.
You might have also found you had issues with nightmares maybe? That can be pretty common with PTSD.
Terrible nightmares.
They still an issue for you?
Not so much at the moment, but up until about 8 months ago, I was still having them. I'd wake up in the middle of the night and I'd be having a dream. I was engaged with some bloke that was trying to steal money from me out of my wallet. And I'd start punching him in the dream. And then all of a sudden I'd wake up and find myself punching the bloody timber bedhead.
Other thing people can find with PTSD is things can trigger them off. You might come across things or even see things or smell things or hear things that might give you flashbacks.
Yep. That happened quite a lot until I was diagnosed and given medication to control it. Oh, Jesus. Sorry.
You're right. Excuse the phone there, but it was a great chance for us to hear John get startled by a loud noise. You might remember in the introduction that we spoke about being startled by a loud noise as one of the common symptoms, one of the common things you might get if you have PTSD. We'll jump back into our chat with John now. When your phone just rang then you jumped.
Yeah. That noise.
Once again, that could be another issue with PTSD. People get startled by noises and that sort of thing. Yeah.
Loud noises, sudden loud noises really, really make me jump like that.
But then you've been put on some antidepressant medicines.
Yes.
And you think they've helped? There's the phone again. You mentioned that the antidepressants that you started helped with the post-traumatic stress disorder,
yes.
PTSD?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
How do they help?
Well, I feel almost normal, pretty well.
Okay.
Except I get a fright like with sudden loud noise, but apart from that, I don't get angry as I used to when somebody upsets me, and I sleep better. Yeah, I feel better.
How long have you been on them for, do you reckon?
I can't remember now.
Obviously a number of years.
Been a few years. Yeah, probably 10.
Did it take you a while to find one that suited you?
The doctor was sorted it out for me. Yeah.
Because often people might have to try 2 or 3, 4 before they find one that works for them.
Oh, okay.
They can handle all right.
Well, this one, when I started taking it, worked straight away.
Okay,
basically. Nice. Yeah, it was good.
Some people find it can maybe take a few weeks, maybe 2, 3, 4 weeks.
Yeah, I don't know how long it took. Now that's going back a long way. In the next part of the chat, I asked John about stopping his medicines.
I was clued up to ask this question because we'd had a bit of a talk about it before I started recording the conversation. A lot of people stop their medicines off their own bat from time to time. You might have done it yourself in the past. And you're certainly within your rights to stop your tablets if you don't want to take them. You know, it's your decision at the end of the day. But it's really important before you do, if you can have a chat to your doctor or pharmacist about it, just so you're in the know of what might happen to your health if you do stop your tablets, and also so that the people who are going to be making decisions about what tablets you might use, like your doctor or your pharmacist, know exactly what you're on, so they're making decisions knowing what you're taking. And you find sometimes you chop them out sometimes?
No. I did as an experiment to see if they were having a positive impact. And it turned out that, yes, they are. Because once I stopped taking them for a couple of days, I started to come back to the old situation.
Okay. You thought your fuse was shortening up a bit?
Yeah.
Getting a bit more aggro?
Yeah.
And all the other stuff?
But at this stage, I have no intention of stopping. It's making me feel good, and I just want to stay this way.
And you get any side effects with them or any problems?
None that I'm aware of.
Yeah,
No.
nice, good.
None at all. Which is, they're perfect medication for me.
You're the textbook example, John.
Apparently, yeah.
Would you have any bits of advice for someone who's been suggested they use medicines to help with PTSD and are maybe a bit iffy about if they want to take it or not?
Well, the first thing I'd suggest is talk to your doctor,
Yeah.
and get your doctor's opinion. And if the doctor suggests you take medications to treat PTSD, I would suggest you do it. It worked for me.
Because some people are a bit wary about using any like antidepressants. Some people just have a hard no when it comes to antidepressants. But
Yeah.
any thoughts on that?
Yes, the repercussions from taking the medication are probably a lot less than what you're going to suffer if you don't take the medication. That's the way I see it. And I would absolutely recommend people to take their doctor's advice on medications for PTSD.
Piece of cake. Thank you.
You're welcome.
There we go. That was our chat with John. Now, as I hinted at in the chat, when it comes to using medicines for PTSD, antidepressants are the main things that get used. Now, it can take a few tries to find the right one for you. It might take 3, 4 or even 5 goes to find the right one. The important thing is to persevere with it. Keep going until you find the right one for you. Work with your doctor to find the right thing for you. It can also take 4, 5 or even 6 weeks for them to fully kick in, but the benefits can really be worth the time you wait. John was really lucky with the medicine he tried. He didn't get any side effects, but that's not always the case. Now, any medicine you use can give you a side effect, but hopefully it won't. Some of these side effects might go away completely if you do get them, which is fantastic, that's great. Or maybe they'll get less over time, and it's up to you to decide if you're willing to put up with them. Before you start a new medicine, have a chat with your doctor or pharmacist and get an idea of a few things about the possible side effects from a medicine you're going to use. And there's a few types of side effects you really want to know about. So you want to know what are the most common side effects you might get, and you also want to know what are the more severe ones that you could get and what to do about them if they do come on. So don't get freaked out by side effects. Get clued up, get prepared, so that when you get home, you know what to do if anything happens and you can work your way through it. The final thing to mention is that often talk therapy is a really great way of treating PTSD. That's the sort of thing like speaking to a psychologist or a counsellor. And often for a lot of people, you'll get better effects from talk therapy than you will from a medicine. So it's something that's really worth considering. It's not everyone's cup of tea, but it's worth having a think about. Even if you tried it before and you weren't wrapped by it, maybe give it another go. So to wrap up, if there's one thing I could get across, persevere with the medicines for PTSD. Don't give up on them. Keep trying. We're all different. What works for one person may not work for you. It can just be a bit of a journey, a bit of a road until you find the right thing for you. Learn when to expect results from the medicine you're using and the possible side effects you might get. If you do get these side effects, it's not the end of the road. There's always something you can try. There's always a plan B, C or D. There's always something else you can try, which is hopefully less likely to give you a problem. You can find information about any of the websites we spoke about in today's episodes in the show notes. Thanks to my brother Robert Woodward for expertly writing and playing the music on today's podcast. Please subscribe and follow the podcast so you don't miss an episode. You can also follow Medicines Ed on Facebook and LinkedIn. If you're interested in working with us, then please get in touch by email at info@medicinesed.com.au. Please feel free to also send us an email if you have any questions or would like to make a comment about the podcast. We'd love to hear from you. Thanks again, and we'll see you next time. Hooroo!